Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. My name is John Bowman, and I will be your instructor for HUM 122 Southern Culture this semester. I just want to give you some overall information about the course in this video. Every single week you will receive an update from me. I will not be putting videos into every single one. I just give you the written content. Although if I notice that you guys need videos, I'll make more of these as we go forward. I like to open with the video so that way you can see me, you see who's on the other side of the screen, you know that I'm really here, and so that way I can point you through the course content. I want to make this video as useful as possible to you, so we're going to jump into that in just a second. Before we do, I want to do my own sort of introductory forum. Again, my name is John Bowman. I've been teaching in the community college system for over a decade at this point. I've been doing this particular class for the majority of that time. I started it in something like 2010. I really enjoy this. I've lived in the South all of my life. I grew up in Forsyth County and then moved to Cabarrus County, where I've lived ever since I was 9. So I know the South well. I am a Southerner. I am a linguist by training. I did not specifically train necessarily in the humanities, but there's a lot of overlap between the two. So if you ever bring up language in one of your submissions to the course, expect me to say a lot more about language than probably somebody else. Okay, let's jump into the course and just take a look at what you're sort of up against. This is what the course looks like. The course is divided up into modules. Each one of the modules will have information for you to do. At the top of each one of these modules, you'll have, again, information. It will contain your reading. It will contain a copy of the lecture that I would do in a seated environment, so you're free to go and look at those slides as well. And it contains a podcast. The podcast is a fairly extended form of information that you can consume however you wish. The podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. They've been pushed out to places like Spotify, iTunes. You can go and find them there. They're listed under J.A. Bowman's personal podcasts. That's because I own the podcast. I don't want anybody else to think that they own the podcast, so they're mine. So that, I've listed them in that way. But that gives you an idea of how you go about getting information in this class. The reading will always be listed here as well. When listed by page number, this is super important. When listed by page number, it will always be this textbook. If listed by author, it will always be this textbook. So for example, when we get down here a little ways further into the course, you'll see that Reid Faulkner, that story right there, An Odor of Verbena, will be in this textbook. Otherwise, again, anything listed by page number will be in this book. Your edition might be slightly different than my edition, so just kind of keep that in mind if you see some pages be wonky. I've had a couple of students report that, but I try to make this as simple as possible. If your page numbers are wonky, email me. I'll help you figure it out. Okay, let's jump next to the syllabus. I want to just briefly walk my way through this with you as well. It's the contract between the two of us as to what exactly I'm expecting of you in this course all semester long. Let's just start with some basic information. There's my contact information at the very top. Right there, you can reach out to me via this email. You can use your Canvas email inbox as well. I'm always happy to receive emails there. If you have any other addresses for me, please don't use those. I will not receive the email. I'll probably not be responding to the email because I don't know these email addresses. These are the ones you need to use. That is my office phone number. You can call that 24/7. If even in the middle of the night, for some reason, if you need to call me, that's totally fine. It's not going to wake me up. It will go directly to voicemail, and I will get that voicemail and return your phone call as soon as I can. Since you're watching the video, I have a bonus for you. My cell phone. This is my cell phone number. 980-621-3115. Rewind the video if you need that again. This is for texting only. Just texting, and only between the hours of something like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. I don't mind. If there are quick questions, text them to me. Hey, Mr. Bowman, how long again is that journal? Well, it's XYZ. If you text me something like, I'm not understanding how to create an introduction for my final project, I'm not answering that via text. I'll say we need to talk on the phone or Zoom or something like that. But I provide this. I've been providing this for over a decade at this point, and people have used it respectfully. But I provide this for quick questions. If you try to call that number, I'm just automatically going to block your number because I'm not going to recognize it. And I'm telling you right now, don't call that number. I will immediately block you, which means you'll probably not be able to text me either. So just don't do that. Text me, be respectful. If you are texting me at wacky hours, I'm not responding at all. because it's a very simple request. Please respect my privacy, use it with respect, and I will be happy to text you back at just about any time whatsoever. Okay, so with that in mind, let's scroll down and look at some other stuff. Here are your textbooks. I've just shown you both of those a second ago. There are the ISBN numbers. Go find them. I'm not going to read the rest of this at you, but I'm going to touch on a couple of highlights. Course policies. Right there, I will treat you like an adult. Let me just kind of zoom in here. I've been putting that on my course syllabi, however you want to pluralize that. By the way, both of them are, in spite of what you've been told, acceptable. I've been putting those on my course syllabuses ever since I started teaching a long time ago. And the reason that I do this is because this is a college level class. I will treat you like an adult. That means that you have all the assignment due dates listed at the bottom of the syllabus. That means that you understand my expectations because I'm telling them to you right now. And that if you don't hand in work, I'm not chasing after you. I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to assume that you're an adult and you understand that the consequence of not handing something in is that you get a 0 on it. And if you don't hand in enough stuff in the course that you are required to be actively participating in the course, that I, on my side, am required to drop you. I've just given you a whole bunch of contact information, and I've emphasized, things like that right there. The reason is because I want to help you, but I can only help you if you're trying to communicate with me. I can't guess your problems. I don't know what your problems are, but I do want to help you get through this course and to be successful. To do that, I need you to communicate with me ahead of time. So if you know that you're going to miss a deadline, send an email or contact me ahead of time so that we can work out an extension. Contacting me after the fact I can't help you at that point. And the reason is I have to remain fair to everybody else. If I'm allowing people to make up work after the due date, that's not fair because somebody else somewhere else has had an emergency too. And so I very strictly enforce that due date. But again, I do try to work with people all the time. I pride myself on this because I want you to get through the class and be successful. Okay, so with that out of the way, now you understand, again, I'm going to treat you like an adult. I don't want you to fail, but I have to hold you accountable. And that's part of academic integrity. Don't cheat, don't plagiarize. There are definitions of plagiarism. If you've had this course before for some reason, don't recycle your work. That's automatically a 0 because that's self-plagiarism. Attendance, I've already mentioned, you need to actively participate. Real fast, your late work policy in this class and all my classes is the exact same. 10 points per 24 hours that something is not handed in. All work and all my classes is due on Thursday at 5 p.m. You have access to that well in advance. If you cannot, for some reason, make that 5 p.m. deadline on Thursdays, 2 options for you. Think of the deadline as being Wednesday at midnight. That works for some people. Or just do it in advance. Do it on the Saturday or Sunday before. I'm perfectly available. I just told you could contact me basically 24/7. I've given you multiple ways to do that. So there's no reason for you to be able to miss this deadline. If that deadline doesn't work for you, contact me and we'll see if we can talk our way through it. But I try to make sure that I respond to you as soon as possible, generally speaking, during the workday within an hour up to 4 hours, in the evenings and on weekends a little bit slower because, again, I'm a private person too. If I'm paying for a movie, I'm going to go see that movie. But I also try to get you feedback on your assignments within 24 hours of the due date, but usually sooner than that. Sometimes it does go longer, depends on the assignment. Okay, here's how you're going to be graded this semester. I will give more information on some of these assignments as we go forward, like the exams, for example. We're going to talk about the journal in just a second. We're going to get to the explorations as well. I'm going to touch on each of those. And the final project I'll talk about as we move forward. And then again, down at the very, very bottom, these are your due dates. That's the course schedule. I'm not going to show it right now because I don't want to confuse you. There's a special thing on the back end. I just finished setting up all of these dates a moment ago, and so it doesn't automatically update on this the syllabus at the bottom. It takes it something like 12 hours. So I don't want to show you those in the video because it will be confusing. Let's bounce over to the modules and look at what we need to see here. Okay, I've already explained how to navigate your way through this. You'll notice that in the very first week of the class, you need to do simply the introductory forum and start reviewing the materials contained here inside the course. Past that, we start to get into the written assignment. So once we get to toward the 24th, that's when the first written assignments will start to come in. You have a journal that's due. The journal is a public response to a post that I have set. It must be 350 words in length, and you must respond to at least one other student in 50 words or more. And that's part of the rubric. So the rubric, I'll just show you, let's see, right there. You'll see grammar, spelling, and paragraphing are important. Make sure you break your work up into paragraphs. That's true for everything in the entire course. Explorations, journals, doesn't matter. Make sure you respond to another student. I do tend to give credit for this ahead of the deadline, but I will check back after the deadline to make sure it was done. You need to make sure that you cite your sources in the case of this particular journal, and you need to make sure that you have effective content. So that's how you will be graded. That is contained, I believe, on your site as well. If for some reason you can't see it, let me know. I'll be happy to send it to you. The journals, there's a link directly to the journal page as well. So you will post, and then you'll see other students start to post as well. You need to respond to someone. That's how all the journals will do. This first journal is, I want you to think about any culture outside of the North American cultures from any time period. And I just want you to think about it. You'll see this will make more sense after you watch the introductory videos, but this is to get you to think about the concept of culture and to help to break you out of your own ethnocentric ideas. Again, those words will make more sense as you start to watch some of the videos. You also have a quiz. The quiz here it's built into the course. It's 10% of your grade. All the quizzes are 10% of your grade in total. But then you also have what's listed as a quiz, but this is an author or book choice, and that is the author or book choice you will make for your final project in the class. Your final project in the class, it always does this on my side, but your final project in the class is a major paper on the topic that you are picking for this particular quiz. These are your choices right here. For some reason, the quiz sometimes does some weird stuff. I will make sure that your grade is accurate in the grade book. Don't panic if you see a weird grade pop up. But these are your choices. If you have a different choice you would like to make, you can pitch that to me by sending me an email and we can talk about it. Okay, so let's jump back to the course. For one last thing, I want to emphasize the explorations because this is one of the assignments that seems to confuse students until they get their head around it. Explorations are very straightforward. You have a list of several different questions, 30 questions in total. You need to pick one question for every exploration, so you're not going to use nearly all of these. You're going to only pick 5 of these questions by the end of the semester. You're going to use that question to do an interview with somebody, to start a conversation. So you might say, hey, what does it mean to be a man in the South? And then that person might respond. And then you might ask for further clarification. It is a conversation. Don't just throw the question at them, listen to the answer, and then be like, well, I'm done. What does it mean to be a man in the South? Well, I don't know. It means to be hardworking. Well, okay, what do you think hardworking means? Does that mean that you can be an accountant, or does that mean you have to go work out in the field, or what have you? Do you have to work in a mill? Is it a certain kind of job? And the further into the course we go, the more information you'll have that will help. So early on, that's why the exploration is the second thing. It gives you a little bit of information to get under you. All right, so you need to summarize that interview. It doesn't need to be verbatim. You don't need a recording. You don't need to film it. I'm trusting you as an individual, as an adult, to summarize this in about 125 to 150 words. Then you need to make specific course connections between the interview and the course content that we have studied. That needs to be page numbers from this book, right? Things from the podcast, things from the other reading. Avoid this as much as possible. This is fiction, and just linking it to fiction is not really as educationally beneficial as I would want from the larger textbook. You need to do that in about 150 to 175 words. Your grade is going to come from these two pieces right here. This portion down at the bottom is your opportunity to self-reflect on what you've heard or to respond in your own way. I would very strongly encourage you not to respond to the person. Be a cultural anthropologist. Just listen to them and record what they say and then connect it to the course. And then down here at the bottom, to me, when you share it with me, you can disagree and say, I do not agree with what this person said. I think they were wrong, or, X, Y, Z, or something like that. The goal is for you to see our content in the world around you. That's what this is all about. You can interview your husband, wife, the person next door, the person at the store, the person at Hardee's you bumped into. I don't care. Just pick somebody, find somebody somewhere, and have a conversation with them about what it means to be the South. Keep in mind some of these topics are touchy, so be careful, be respectful, right, in all that you do, and all will be well. That covers everything. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'm always happy to help, and I look forward to working with you this semester.